You know, there are things no one warns us about as we age. They tell us about wrinkles, about gray hair, about forgetting where we put our glasses. But they rarely mention the one thing that can quietly betray us before we even say a word. The smell. That faint, sour, musty scent that whispers old lady even when you're dressed to the nines and feeling fabulous. And let me be clear, it's not your fault, it's biology. It's time. It's those little habits we stop paying attention to, those quiet corners of the body and home we forget to care for. But here's the thing. You don't have to smell old just because you're getting older. Today I'm going to tell you the 6 most overlooked places that might be causing those sneaky little smells. And more importantly, how to freshen them up so you can walk into every room feeling confident, clean, and absolutely radiant. Because growing older is a privilege, but smelling older, that's completely optional. So pour yourself a cup of tea, get cozy, and stay with me. Because the last one might just surprise you. 1. Your beloved sofa, the place that holds more than just memories. Let's start with a place that's probably seen more of you than your own mirror. Your favorite recliner or sofa. You know the one. The chair that hugs your body just right after a long day. The one with the blanket tucked just so over the arm. Maybe it's where you sip your evening tea, watch your afternoon programs, or sneak in that glorious nap you pretend you didn't take. Mine? It's this faded blue number I bought in the early 2000s. Soft arms, just the right tilt, and a permanent dent where I always sit. But here's something I didn't realize until my daughter came to visit one summer. She walked in, sniffed the air a little, and asked, "Mom, is something musty in here?" I was a little taken aback. I keep a clean home. I vacuum. I dust. But then it hit me. That chair. My favorite place in the world had quietly become the smelliest. Here's the truth no one talks about. Fabric furniture absorbs everything. Your natural skin oil, sweat, body lotion, perfume, even the faint scent of yesterday's dinner. It all settles right into the cushions over time. And because we're so used to it, we stop noticing. But someone else will. Especially if they're younger and have what I call fresh nostrils. And it's not about being dirty. It's about being lived in. That's what soft fabric does. But just like we wash our sheets and change our clothes, that cozy chair needs a little love too. Now here's what I do every single week, and it's made a world of difference. I sprinkle a light layer of baking soda all over the seat and backrest, let it sit for an hour, and then vacuum it up. That one step neutralizes odors beautifully. No harsh chemicals, just good old-fashioned kitchen magic. Twice a year, I go the extra mile and steam clean the upholstery. You can rent a little machine, or if bending and lifting isn't your thing anymore, hire a local service. It's worth every penny, trust me. And here's my little secret. I tuck a sachet of lavender and cedar right down into the cushion crease. Not overpowering, just a soft, fresh scent that makes the whole room feel calmer. So here's the point. If your recliner could talk, it would have 1,000 stories, but it doesn't have to smell like all of them. Take care of your chair, and you'll be surprised how much fresher your entire home feels. And by extension, so will you. Because when your living space feels clean and inviting, you carry that energy with you. And darling, we deserve to feel fresh, not forgotten. 2. Inside your shoes. The silent saboteur of freshness. Let me ask you something, and be honest. When was the last time you smelled the inside of your shoes? Not the outside, not the new one still in the box. I mean your everyday pair, the trusty slip-ons, the walking sneakers, or those flats you wear to the grocery store, the mailbox, and back again. If you're like me, you probably never think to give them a second sniff. But a few years ago, I started noticing a faint funk. Not strong, not offensive. Just this low-level sourness that seemed to follow me around. I blamed the laundry, the carpet, even the dog. Until one day, while changing shoes in the entryway, I leaned in, and there it was. My favorite pair of orthopedic Mary Janes had turned against me. Now, I'm not sharing this to embarrass anyone. Quite the opposite. I want you to know how normal this is. As we age, our feet change. We sweat differently. Our skin gets thinner, circulation slows down, and that perfect storm creates the ideal environment for odor and even fungus. Most people don't realize that each foot has more than 250,000 sweat glands. That's 250,000 tiny faucets pouring into your shoes every single day. And if you're not regularly washing or replacing the insoles, that moisture builds up. It dries, mixes with dead skin, and, well, let's just say it doesn't smell like roses. So what can we do about it? I've got a few tricks that are easy, affordable, and make a big difference. First, every night I sprinkle a little baking soda into the shoes I wore that day. Just a teaspoon in each. Let it sit overnight and dump it out in the morning. It absorbs odor and moisture like magic. Second, rotate your shoes. I used to wear the same pair every day. Now I give each pair at least 24 hours to air out. It helps more than you'd think. And when the weather's nice, I leave them out in the sun for an hour. A little sunshine goes a long way in killing off odor-causing bacteria. If your shoes have removable insoles, take them out once a week. Give them a gentle wash in warm, soapy water and let them dry completely before putting them back in. And if you've had them for a long time, consider replacing them altogether. A fresh insole feels like a new shoe and smells like one too. Lastly, if you want to take it a step further, grab a few activated charcoal inserts. You can find them online or at most pharmacies. Slip them in, and they'll quietly soak up any unpleasantness without a fuss. Here's the bottom line. You can be freshly showered, wearing clean clothes, and still give off a not-so-fresh vibe if your shoes aren't part of the hygiene routine. And trust me, there's nothing more confidence-stealing than realizing you left behind a scent when you bent over to tie your grandchild's shoelace. So let's keep our feet happy, our shoes fresher, and walk into every room with the grace and dignity we've earned, not a trail of mystery odors. 3. The closet, where clothes go to get musty. Let's talk about the one place in your home that holds your memories, your style, and probably a few secrets. Your closet. Now don't worry, I'm not here to judge. I've got one too, and mine. I used to call it the fabric retirement home, because once a blouse went in there, especially one I was saving for something nice, it pretty much never saw the light of day again. Until one morning, I pulled out a favorite cardigan. Soft, cozy, hadn't worn it in a while. And the moment I put it on, I caught a whiff of something stale. Not dirty, not offensive, just that faint, sour, been sitting too long smell. I asked my granddaughter if she noticed anything, and bless her sweet honesty, she said, "It smells like Grandma's church basement." Now, I don't know what kind of churches she's been to, but I knew exactly what she meant. Here's the thing. Even clean clothes, when stored in a dark, closed-off space, can start to pick up a scent, especially if they haven't been worn in a while. Closets are like little microclimates. They're warm, they're dusty, and they're sealed up tight. That combination creates a perfect storm for fabrics to trap humidity and odor, especially in wool, leather, and synthetic blends. And because we associate that smell with old things, it can quietly age us too, not by how we look, but by how we carry ourselves. I don't know about you, but I'd rather people remember my perfume, not the scent of mothballs and thyme. So here's what I do now. Every few days, I open my closet doors wide. Let it breathe, just like we do. I place a moisture absorber like damp rid or charcoal packs in the corners to keep things dry. I vacuum the closet floor once a month. You'd be amazed at the lint and skin dust that collects down there just from fabrics moving around. I've also made peace with letting go. If I haven't worn something in 2 years and can't remember why I kept it, I thank it, fold it neatly, and donate it. Because I've realized if it smells old, It'll make me smell old. And there's nothing stylish about that. Finally, I add a little scent of intention. I hang a lavender sachet or a cedar block from the rod, something natural and light. It keeps everything smelling clean, not perfumed or artificial. So the next time you go into your closet, don't just grab a top. Take a moment to check in with the space, because your clothes should whisper elegance, not whisper where they've been hiding for the past decade. 4. Between the toes, the forgotten frontier. Let's be honest, feet are often the most hardworking, least appreciated part of the body. They carry us through grocery aisles, garden paths, grandkid birthday parties, and long walks with old friends. But if there's one spot almost every woman forgets to care for properly, especially as we get older, it's this, between the toes. Now I know what you're thinking. Of course I wash my feet, and I believe you. But do you wash between them? And more importantly, do you dry between them? This all came up after a little mystery in my friend Doris's living room. She kept saying there was a smell, a sort of cheesy, slightly sour smell. And she'd done everything. Cleaned the carpet, lit candles, even blamed her poor golden retriever. But one afternoon, while stretching her feet out on the ottoman, her daughter got real quiet and said, "Mom, I think it's you." Turns out the culprit wasn't the furniture or the dog. It was the tiny pocket of skin between Doris's 4th and 5th toes. Just a little moisture, a little friction, and boom. The perfect environment for bacteria and fungus. Athlete's foot isn't just for teenage boys. It shows up for us seniors too, especially when circulation slows down, skin thins, and we're not quite as agile in the shower anymore. So here's the simple routine that changed everything for me. During every shower, I gently wash between each toe with a soft washcloth and mild soap. Nothing too harsh, just a simple cleanse. Afterward, I sit down, take a clean towel, and thoroughly dry between each toe. No rushing, no skipping. Then, especially during summer, or if I've been in shoes all day, I apply a light dusting of natural foot powder or a dab of diluted tea tree oil. It's antibacterial, smells fresh, and feels like a little spa moment just for me. And here's something else that makes a difference. I don't wear socks or slippers unless my feet are freshly washed. It's tempting to slip them on right after coming in from the garden or running errands. But all that moisture and bacteria gets trapped and lingers. The truth is, you can be perfectly clean from head to ankle. But if you're skipping between the toes, you're leaving the door wide open for odors to sneak in. And those odors, they don't stay politely in your shoes. They follow you to the rug, the bed sheets, even the back seat of the car. So let's treat our feet with the respect they deserve. They've carried us this far. The least we can do is keep them clean, dry, and delightfully odor-free. After all, there's nothing elegant about smelling like a gym bag, and everything elegant about a woman who pays attention to the details, even the ones no one sees. 5. Under the breasts, a hidden hotspot. All right, ladies, let's have a grown-up conversation. No giggling, just real talk. We've spent a lifetime with our bodies, watching them change, stretch, soften, and shift. And one of the most underestimated places where those changes show up, and sometimes smell, was right underneath the breasts. Now, I'm not going to pretend this is glamorous, but it's real. Over the years, gravity does what gravity does. Those high and proud girls from our 20s, they may have drifted south, and in doing so, they've created a little pocket. A warm, dark, soft space where skin rests against skin. And where there's warmth and moisture, there's bacteria. And where there's bacteria, well, Chanel No. 5 doesn't stand a chance. Here's the thing. It's not about how big or small your bust is. This can happen whether you're full-chested or more petite. It's about skin contact, especially in hot weather under layers, or when you've been wearing a bra all day. You may not feel the dampness, but it's there. And it doesn't take long for it to cause irritation, rashes, or that subtle sour scent that seems to sneak up on you. For a long time, I thought it was just me. But then I started sharing tips with friends. And honey, you wouldn't believe how many women quietly said, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one." Here's what I do now, and it's made a world of difference. In the shower, I lift and gently wash underneath each breast with a soft cloth and unscented soap. Nothing too perfumed or drying. Afterward, I make sure to pat dry thoroughly, not a quick wipe. I mean really dry the area. Then, depending on the season, I either apply a bit of cornstarch-based powder or tuck a folded cotton pad or tissue under each side for extra absorbency. It's an old dancer's trick I picked up in my ballroom days, and it still works wonders. On especially humid days, I swap in a piece of soft, breathable cloth. It may sound like a lot, but it takes less than a minute, and it can save you from discomfort, odor, and those embarrassing moments when you're not quite sure where that smell is coming from. Because here's the truth. Nothing ages us faster than feeling uncomfortable in our own skin. And freshness under the bust, that's not just hygiene. It's self-respect. We deserve to feel clean, confident, and comfortable from head to toe. And yes, in every curve in between. 6. Behind the ears and the nape of the neck. The sweet spot no one talks about. This last one might surprise you, because it surprised me. It's small, it's easy to miss, and yet it can pack a surprisingly strong punch when it comes to odor. The area behind your ears and the nape of your neck. I learned this the hard way. One Sunday morning after church, my granddaughter leaned in to hug me. Sweet as can be, but as she pulled back, she gave this tiny wrinkle of her nose. Not rude, just honest. And you know how kids are, no filter. I asked her, "What's wrong, honey?" And she said, in that matter-of-fact way only a child can, "Grandma, your neck smells kind of funny." Let me tell you. I laughed. I did. But then I marched straight to the bathroom mirror, pushed my hair aside, and gave myself a good inspection. My makeup looked fine. My blouse was freshly pressed. But sure enough, behind my ears and right at the base of my neck, there was a slightly sticky, almost waxy feel. I hadn't even noticed it. So I did what any curious woman would do. I grabbed my phone and Googled it. Turns out this area is full of sebaceous glands, the ones that produce oil. And as we age, our skin changes. We produce more of a fatty compound called 2-notinol, which loves to linger in places like this, especially if we're wearing perfume, hair products, or scarves that trap heat and moisture. The problem is we tend to wash our faces and necks, but not behind the ears, and certainly not the nape of the neck, especially if you have long hair, wear wigs, or like me, love a cozy shawl in winter. So here's what I do now, and it only takes a moment. Every day during my evening wash-up, I take a warm cloth with a bit of gentle soap and gently scrub behind each ear and down the back of my neck in slow, circular motions. Nothing harsh, just a little focused care. Then I rinse and dry completely. On warmer days, I even use a mild astringent like witch hazel to keep things fresh. And the difference? Immediate. That slightly sour, invisible cloud? Gone. And no more wrinkled noses from honest grandchildren either. So if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things and still can't quite feel crisp, check behind your ears. Because sometimes the smallest places make the biggest difference. So there you have it. 6 small, often overlooked places that can quietly steal our confidence if we're not paying attention. None of them are glamorous. None of them show up in a magazine article or a beauty commercial. But every single one matters. Because the truth is, aging is a privilege. It's the reward for surviving, for learning, for loving deeply and living fully. But smelling older? That's optional. That's something we can control, and not for anyone else, not to impress, not to pretend, but because we deserve to feel comfortable and clean in our own bodies. There's a quiet dignity in staying fresh. It says, I still care. It says, I haven't given up on myself. And let me tell you, That kind of self-respect is more attractive than any trendy perfume or expensive skincare. And if you're sitting there thinking, "Oh no, I've been missing a few of these spots," let me assure you, you are not alone. So many of us were never taught these little things. That's why we talk about them here, with kindness, with humor, and without shame, because we're in this stage of life together. So here's your invitation. Take 10 minutes tonight. Check in with yourself. Look at your routines. See where you might give a little more care. Not because you're trying to be perfect, but because you're worth the effort. And if you found yourself nodding along today, or thinking of a friend who'd benefit from these tips, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video. Leave a comment below. I want to know which one surprised you the most. Or just say, "I'm too classy to be musty." Trust me, you won't be the only one. And don't forget to subscribe. We've got more real talk coming about aging gracefully, staying vibrant, and finding joy in the everyday. Because here on this channel, we believe growing older isn't the end of beauty. It's the beginning of something deeper, richer, and far more radiant. You're not invisible, my dear. You're still here, and you deserve to feel fresh, inside and out.